This is exciting. Hi, I'm your host, Steph. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for tuning in and wanting to listen to me. I hope you're having a great, beautiful day. I hope that it's like today. Today is kind of rainy. It's kind of cute, but it's not lightning rain. It's just little sprinkles. But yeah, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for being here. Okay, so before I say anything else, y'all, I'm engaged. If y'all didn't know, I was engaged. I'm engaged. Um, yeah, that's it. That's the podcast. Um, no, I wanted to say I'm engaged. I'm super happy. I'm excited to be in this new chapter of my life. It's super exciting. I get to do life with my best friend, and I won't say too much because I think we're planning to do maybe a little episode how we got engaged and how it was and the feels and how we felt and how he went on about it and everything. And yeah, y'all was like super. I was shocked, but I also wasn't shocked. I was really shocked at how many people knew and who knew for how long. It was crazy to me because I was hearing 3 months. I said 3 months. And yeah, but I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for the episode, because not everybody knows. And I think it'd be pretty interesting to get to hear both of our sides because mostly when people ask us, we give them a really short, tiny version. But obviously for a podcast, we can talk for about 30 minutes and talk about a little engagement. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Yo, I want to start doing little life updates when I start the episodes out. I think those are fun. I love when people do those because it kind of just doesn't dive in into the podcast. If y'all think that's a good idea, let me know and I will do a little life updates. But yeah, I'm super excited for the wedding and maybe we'll talk about wedding planning and those things. But okay, now I'm sidetracking a lot. But yeah, so today's episode, I don't even know what it's going to be called. I don't even know what to name this episode. And I don't want to take anything good away from the engagement, but my podcast is very much about being transparent and being open and honest and telling y'all how things really are. Not that there's anything to hide, but I want to be transparent and kind of what goes on and expectations. And everybody's different. But what my podcast is to be true, and I find out that more people relate to that because there's no what's the word that I'm trying to look for, and trying to be perfect. There's no sense in trying to be perfect because nobody can relate to perfect Jesus, be perfect as Jesus. So I guess what I will call the little segment for now is what happens before the good thing. And this sounds like I'm about to preach. Okay, but no, I'm not gonna preach. I just want to say that because I feel that a lot of the times before something good comes, a lot of turmoil, a lot of things will start to happen before this one good thing happens. And yeah, and I feel like that's kind of what happened with me and my now fiance, Juan, by the way. I'm going based off of my notes a little bit. So sorry if there's a lot of spacing out and I'm all over the place. I'm actually super tired. So let's get raw and honest and transparent. So before the engagement, I feel that me and Juan had a lot of turmoil going on. And by the way, me and Juan do talk about all these things. Like, hey, is it okay if I talk about this? And yeah, so we had some turmoil, and I wouldn't say it was us arguing or any of that. I think it's the regular couple disagreements and whatever. And so when we were having this, I was kind of noticing that it's not like I was the issue, but in my mind, I said, "What is so different, or what is going on that this feels like it's an everyday thing?" And whether you like it or not, it starts getting to you. Whether I liked it or not, it was getting to me. I was like, why do we keep having these disagreements? Why is this going on? Why do I feel this way? What is going on? And little did I know we were about to get engaged. So what my point is on that is that if something good is coming, there's always something that's going to try to keep you from it or rob you from it, or something's going to be going on before this really good thing happens. And I've proved that from time and time and time in my life. Before something good comes, something is going to happen. So yeah, before we got engaged, it was a lot. And I remember we would have very, very long talks, and this wasn't us arguing or anything, but us trying to figure out like what is going on, like what's happening. And it's not like he could tell me, hey, we're about to be engaged, so just keep on holding on, you know. So I did a lot of self-reflecting and a lot of diving deep in and stuff, you know. So whether I liked it or not, it was my lack of self-love and a few other things, but I'll get to that. So my lack of self-love is thinking that I was not worthy enough or good enough for Juan. And that had to do a lot with my mental health. Mental health kept me a lot from a lot of things, doing a lot of things, participating in things, sometimes being fully there when something is going on. Let's say we have a birthday to go to, right? Because I push myself to go to the birthday or whatever and be there and try to be present, I'm not even there anymore. Is it omnipresent? Would that be the word? I don't even know. But yeah, so it was a lack of self love that I had. And then I got to where I was like, I don't think I'm even beautiful enough. I don't think I'm fit enough. Like, I've gained so much weight. Like, why would he want to be with me? You know, I've gained all this weight since we started dating. And then I would start comparing myself. And that's when I was like, Steph, you need to stop, because I'm a person that I can be very self-destructive, like really fast. And then, yeah, I'm just going to speak for myself, but I get self-destructive really fast. And I start kind of tearing myself apart, and I start telling myself that I'm not really worthy of all these things, or I don't deserve all these things, or I don't deserve anything, and I need to work for things. And that comes all from childhood trauma, right? So that's kind of where I was. I was lacking so much self love. So if you lack self love, you can't love other people. And then you kind of start, it's like a mirroring effect, right? So however you're treating yourself, you're going to treat the other person, or what you think of yourself, you know, vice versa or whatever. And, you know, it keeps going on. So it was really hard for me to go through that, because I had already gone through that before, right? Having like eating disorders and just a lot of different things. So for me, it was like super hard, because I said, I on purpose on my single season, I focused so much on myself, right? I would read books, or I would read relationship books. I would watch a lot of couples. I would listen to a lot of podcasts about relationships and those things. And so I was really trying to focus on myself. And even if whenever I was in a relationship, that was always my goal. You know, I didn't know who my person would be or who my husband would be, right? And so I would always try very, very hard to try to be a better person overall, and then a better person in a relationship, and what I could do better. Or anytime that a relationship finished, I would take back, or of, hey, I could have done this better, or hey, this is what I learned, or hey, this person did this and I appreciated that, whatever, so on and so forth. So, yeah, and then my biggest second thing, which was my biggest, I guess, quote unquote, mountain to get over, and this was what was hard. Being worthy of love. So I put that as a caption on my Instagram post, and I put, Juan made me realize that I was worth of love. So how do you lack, or how did I lack myself, me, Steph, lack of love? Like I told you, I felt like I had to earn it. Growing up, it's like I had to earn everything, right? And so my mentality, even growing up with like my parents and just growing up overall, is that I had to earn everything, right? So if I wanted a person to like me, I would, you know, have to earn things. And I think that's with everyone and everything, right? You don't just get to be somebody's best friend, or you don't just get to be somebody's fiance. You don't get to just be somebody's wife or girlfriend, etc., right? The list goes on. You kind of have to, quote unquote, do things. And by how to do things is like nourishing your friendship and watering it and being there and being present, being available, being intentional, right? But whenever it came to me, I took that times 10. And it was always like that for me, right? And then it would get to a really bad place because then people would start to use me, and now I'm like in a really awkward place where I'm trying to balance the two, right? I think I've done and gotten better. Um, it was just that before the engagement, all of this was going on with me. I was going to therapy, right? Well, no, I wasn't going to therapy yet because I started going to therapy in September. So I still wasn't getting the help that I needed. Um, so it was kind of hard to deal with it by myself. Had I gone to therapy, I think all of this would have been kind of solved and whatever. But yeah, I felt like I had to earn somebody's love, and I had to be, top tier, or had to be doing everything right and everything correct and everything. And only Jesus can do that, really. So I don't know what I was trying to do. And then the next thing for me not feeling like I was worthy of love, I didn't even want to receive the love that I was being given because I felt that I didn't deserve it. So I didn't even want to receive it because I felt that I didn't deserve it. So I would back up and be like, no, like, please don't love me. Like, I don't deserve to be loved. And obviously, it wasn't verbatim like that. Like, hey, don't love me. I don't deserve to be loved. There's obviously, excuse me, something a little bit deeper and a little bit more profound than that. But that's what I ended up finding out. And then lastly, it was due to all the hurt and all the trauma that I had had in my life. And accepting love would mean that I would actually end up being hurt, maybe. Or that's what I thought, right? So that was rough. That was tough because now in my mind I said, okay, so one, I'm lacking self-love. Two, I feel that I'm not even worthy of love. And now I don't even want to accept it if somebody gives it to me. Right? So if I were to let somebody in, I'm like, wow, now they can hurt me. But that's the beautiful thing about love in a relationship. Being able to go through those stages and seeing all those beautiful things and, seeing if it's gonna work out. That's a beautiful thing. Even if it doesn't work out, it kind of like is what it is, but not really. So that was rough for me. And I had a thought in my mind and it kind of went away. But yeah, it was due to all the hurt and all the trauma, and you kind of go through things and then you say, how do I know this person's not going to hurt me? How do I, if I end up hurt again, what's going to happen? Super tough, rough decision. So how I ended up going on about all of this is, one, I prayed about it. I gave it to God and I said, I need your love. I want to love you. I want you to love me back. Not that he doesn't already love me, right? Because I'm his child. And so I gave it all to Jesus. I prayed about it and I said, I'm lacking self-love. I apparently don't feel worthy of love, which I didn't even know until I did some dig, dig, digging. And yeah, but I didn't get to that conclusion just by myself. I ended up talking to somebody that I trusted very, very deeply, and somebody that I knew could guide me. And yeah, so I went to go tell them. And by this point, I had spiraled into something completely deeper and crazy. I went and I told them, I said, I don't think I'm worthy enough for Juan. I literally don't feel good enough. I feel that he deserves somebody better. I believe that he deserves something better. And why I believe these things is because he wants to travel. And I can't even travel right now. Oh God. He loves Japan and he loves Hawaii and he wants to do all of these things. And I can't do those things right now. There's a lot of things that maybe he wants to do sometimes and I can't. And because I was going through all of these things, mentally. I don't even want to cry. I don't even know why I'm crying. Because I'm going through all these things mentally. Sorry, I don't know if that was loud on the mic. And I wasn't not expecting to cry. Because I'm going through all these things mentally. It's really hard sometimes to do day-to-day things, right? And I get worn out mentally, right? Because imagine if a person, I don't even know how to try to explain it with any example, but just imagine a person doing a lot and doing the most versus a person that's not doing anything, right? That's kind of how the mind is. My mind was super high, doing a lot, Juan's very calm. And yeah, it would get to me, it would get to our relationship, because then I couldn't do anything. So I was talking to this person, was telling them about all of that, and I thought it wasn't fair to him. I said, this is not fair to a person. Whenever you're in the beginning of relationship stages, whenever you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you're traveling, you're doing all this, and even more whenever you're a fiance or you're already married, engaged or married, where we're going to go to a honeymoon. And I started overthinking all these things. And not just that, then it got to a weird place where I was like, I need to talk to somebody about this, because if I don't, this is going to end up really bad. And I've done this before. Uh, so being honest, I told her, I said, I feel that I shouldn't even volunteer at church anymore, or I shouldn't even go to church anymore. Maybe go to another church and maybe just, fly away from everything and go to another church and just kind of be there and not talk to anyone and, whatever. And then I started over analyzing everything in my life. And I said, maybe I don't even deserve the friends that I have. I don't deserve Juan. And I was going in through this whole thing, right? So I started out with me feeling like I wasn't enough for Juan. And then it went into I wasn't worthy at all of anything at all in my life. And, this person said, okay, well, you have a lot going on in your mind. Obviously gave me my words of encouragement and everything. But what they said about Juan is you can see it over him. You can see it through him of how much he loves you. And time and time we've seen how he's been there for you, even on these rough times. I guess I'm getting really emotional because we're engaged. In my mind, that wasn't going to happen because I wasn't worthy of love, right? So, oh God, I don't like that I'm being emotional. So, ended up telling me, we see through and through Juan. This man loves you, He'll almost literally do anything for you if he hasn't already. And, then they explained to me kind of how the woman mind works versus the men's. So woman is more like spaghetti, right? It's like all over the place. It doesn't, and then it stops making sense. And then it's like, how did I even get here? I started with this and I'm all the way over here. And, like we were talking, let's say we were talking about numbers, and all of a sudden I'm talking about countries, they don't really correlate. And the men is just kind of more, they tend to be a little bit more centered, a little bit more calm. Kind of like bread. I don't really know what analogy they ended up using that day, but I'm going with that. Spaghetti and bread, which you can eat both of them together, and they make a great dish. But yeah, that's what ended up happening with that. And what I ended up doing afterwards, what I didn't want to do was talk to Juan about it. This being my best friend, the person that I talked to about literally anything and everything, I felt that I couldn't talk to him about this because I said the second that I say it, he's kind of like, babe, for real, like, be serious. I love you, and whatever. And I guess that's not what I wanted to hear at the time. So finally, after me having this conversation, maybe 2 days later, I ended up bringing it up to him. And he actually gave me another kind of point of view. And I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, then we ended up, being cool. And after that conversation, honestly, I was fine. I'm not even gonna lie. I was fine. So my biggest thing is and find the source of wherever anything is coming from. So for me, I was like, this is the enemy, okay? He's trying to tear us apart. But no, really, I kind of got to more of the depth about it, So kind of finding the source and where everything is coming from. Super, 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 very, very important. So yeah. And then obviously the biggest one is pray about everything. Pray about it, talk to Jesus about it, talk to God about it. And if you're in a relationship and if you've ever struggled with this, or if you end up getting in a relationship, my advice is to analyze and realize how much you really love them and fight for them. Because you're not only going to fight for yourself, you're going to fight for them. And if then that doesn't help, then realize how much they love you and all of the things that they have done. Sit back and watch and just kind of analyze how they are as a person. And my other biggest one is trust the process of whatever is going on. Trust the process of anything, of whatever it is, even if it seems impossible, if it feels like it's been going on forever. Trust the process. The other one, don't give into it. Whenever you feel this thing or you start having this thought, don't give into it. So, love, trust the process, don't give into it, and pray about it. So, yeah. And after all of that, we are in the end. Good news, we're engaged. So, yeah. I just wanted to say that because I feel like whenever somebody gets engaged, it's all like the beautiful, cute colors. And 100%, yes, it is. But everything takes time, it takes effort, it takes hard work, it takes love, it takes blood, sweat, and tears. Maybe not blood because nobody bled in the situation, but you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, trust the process. Listen to some podcasts, take some advice, pray about it, get deep into the Bible, communicate. Communication is such a big thing that I didn't even mention into it. I slightly kind of mentioned it. But communication is just so big. Just do it. Even if you think it's going to sound dumb. And that's the thing. If you think it's going to sound dumb to that person, say it. And you're going to be like, that's dumb. That's really dumb. And then you're going to be like, yeah, that was really dumb. And then you're going to move on from it. And you're like, oh, yeah, that was really dumb. Why did I say that? What was I thinking about that? Why did I think that? And bam, problem solved. And they're going to be like, really? Are you for real? This is what's been going on with you. But yeah. Oh, also, y'all, my crew neck says Rafa, which means God heals. I don't know what I want to say that. I just saw it on the screen and I was like, wow, it's so cute. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. Hopefully this made sense to you. Not hopefully you really, that's bad. Hopefully you understand and take some good key points out of this and know that you're not alone in anything that you ever go through. There's somebody that's gone through it or is going through it at the same time with you. That's it for today's episode. I love y'all, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Maybe we'll talk about the engagement. Let me know if that's something y'all want. Oh, and also a life update before the podcast begins if y'all want that. Okay. I love y'all. See y'all for the next episode. Bye.